Okay. The session is recording now. Okay, let's start. Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, I hope it is visible to everyone.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So there are a few people are going to, coming in. If someone can manage to admit them, that would be great. Okay, great. So, as you, few of you know that this session is going to be the overview of Microsoft Teams. So we talk about what is Microsoft Teams, the components, the dependencies, and the platform of Microsoft Teams. So we'll talk about history, we'll talk about future, we'll talk about what is happening now in the market about Microsoft Teams, what is the technical requirements, technical challenges, and many other things we are going to discuss. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. So I am Neeranjan. So I have around 9+ years of experience in Microsoft Unified Communication Platform. So I started working on the products like OCS, Office Communication Server, Link servers, Skype for Business. Now it's Microsoft. So currently I'm working in Polycom, so where I take care of the video conferencing solutions, voice conferencing solutions of Polycom, along with integration part between the Polycom products and Microsoft products. Okay, that's about me. Okay, let me. This is about me. So in my free time, I'll just do some kind of blogging, community contributions and all. So I'm also a Teams certified engineer. It's not engineer actually; it's associate. Microsoft has stopped calling the certified guys as engineer. They started calling them as associate. Okay, so yeah, that's what about me. Then, if we talk about what we are going to cover in the full course of Microsoft Teams training, right? So this is going to be the agenda. Like we talk about overview and architecture of Microsoft Teams. So overview and architecture covers many things. It's a lengthy, discussion because.
Yeah, Neer, I'm sorry. Are you sharing any screen, because we are not able to see anything?
Gaurav, from my side, I can able to see that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me stop my sharing and share my whole desktop. Give me a quick minute.
Sure.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much, Neer. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I was talking like we are going to cover many items in the course of training, right? So here in this session, I'm not going to cover each and everything, but basics of each and every items I'm going to cover. Like overview and architecture, we are going to discuss. So this is the very important and basic part we have to understand about the Microsoft Teams. So, and we'll talk about journey from this, how the journey went in Microsoft about its unified communications product. Then we talk about deployment, cloud voice, security and compliance, call flows. Migration is very important. Then the administration and troubleshooting is quite important again. So let's jump in, look into the overview and architecture of Microsoft Teams, right? So I was talking before starting the recording, right? I was talking to someone that we cannot just jump into the Microsoft Teams directly. No, that's not going to help at least people who are not in the Microsoft field. So probably you guys are Cisco background or the voice background. So it is not at all a great idea to jump into Microsoft Teams before we understand the platform of Microsoft Teams, right? So when I say platform, it's again, most of you heard about Office 365 because Microsoft Teams is sitting in the Office 365 suite. Then we have to talk about Azure Active Directory. So I call it as AAD. Then we need to understand what is Teams, features, and meetings. Okay. So I wrote Microsoft 365 over here. Let me clarify that thing before I move further. Earlier, Microsoft introduced its cloud-based solution called Office 365. Right. Recently, they want to change it to Microsoft 365. That's just a brand change. That's it. Nothing to worry. Nothing. No confusion at all. It's same. The only thing is brand is changed. That's it. Okay. So now we need to understand what is this Office 365 suite. So it's a cloud-based SaaS service. SaaS means software as service. So a few people might be aware of cloud computing concepts, right? There are three types of cloud-based platforms: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Okay, we'll talk about that in later slides. Okay, so this Office 365 is sitting under SaaS platform. It's a software as services. So when I say software as services, any consumer or any customers who are going to have this Office 365 solution, they're not going to any change or manage anything in the Office 365. They are just a subscriber. They are just using the services. That's it. Nothing else. That's why it is called as SaaS. We'll talk more about that. Okay, so this is again Office 365 is a line of subscription services which is offered by Microsoft. Okay, let's see what all the products it provides, what all the services are available. So as you know, it provides Exchange. So Exchange is nothing but your email solution, your Outlook, whatever the Outlook client you're using. In the back end, it's an Exchange server. So either you're using the on-premise or the online, but here we are talking about online, Exchange Online. Then Skype for Business. So earlier it was Skype for Business, right? The Microsoft Unified Communication Solution was Skype for Business in past. Now they come up with Microsoft Teams. So we have Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business. So SharePoint is again to publish your websites. Then OneDrive is again, it's a database kind of solution where you can store your data into this solution. So OneDrive is again a competitor of many other public solutions such as Dropbox, Google Drive, and other guys. So these are the heavy applications which are sitting in Office 365, but there are also many other applications sitting in Office 365, such as many more. For example, you have this Kaizala. It is a kind of WhatsApp type of application. Then Microsoft Flow to manage your workflows, kind of automation things. Then Yammer, Sway, Power Apps, Power BI, OneNote, Forms, Dell, Analytics, Stream. Stream is again for your Microsoft Teams recording and streaming the videos to large number of people. So there are many applications which are sitting in Office 365 or Microsoft 365 suite. So again, you are going to access the services based on your subscription level. Again, it might be based on your agreement, contract, or the license, whatever you go with. Okay. So on top of it, there should be something called identity management we need, right, in Office 365 suite. You cannot just deploy the applications and use it. You need to have the identity management solution as well, where it will provide you the access management, authentication management, or authentication services, objects management, attributes management, and all. That's where we have Azure Active Directory in the Office 365 suite. So this solution, it's an identity management solution where it manages identities such as objects and attributes. Then it also manages the authentication services. When I say authentication services, again, whenever you want to access anything, right? Let's say you are the Microsoft Teams user and you want to log into Microsoft Teams, right? You cannot just put something in your sign-in address and password and get it sign in. No, it will use some kind of authentication mechanisms, and that is being supported by Azure Active Directory. So there are multiple types of authentication mechanisms. For example, multi-factor authentications, two-factor authentications, OAuth authentication. There are many which are residing in Microsoft 365 suite, and that is handled by Azure Active Directory. Okay, this is the basics of Azure. It's a basic thing about what is Office 365 and what are the services are over here. Let's dig more into it. Okay, because this is very basic things we need to understand. So this is what I was talking about, the SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So when we talk about, the cloud computing, you can take any vendors, right? You can take Azure from Microsoft, AWS from Amazon, Alibaba from Alibaba again. So there are multiple cloud computing vendors, right? Where they can provide you the solution, cloud-based solutions. So that solutions are segregated into three types. That is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So let's understand about these three concepts. Okay. So let's assume that your organization want to use some sort of cloud-based computing solutions, which mean you have developed one kind of application and you want to host it. Where you want to host it? Either you get the physical servers from market, from Dell or Dell EMC, and put it over there. If you do not want to invest on your on-premise platform, then you go ahead with cloud-based. That's when this concept will come. So if you want to host your server, the application, then you need to see which one suits to you. So when we talk about IaaS, it's an infrastructure as a services, which means the cloud vendor will give you the infrastructure altogether. For example, he will give you servers, the bare servers, the storages, and he will also give you the networking solutions as well. So networking means connectivity, firewalls, and security. So then, of course, data center, right? Because that's where these servers are hosted. So data center is being owned by your cloud vendor. So in this case, when you opt for infrastructure as a service, you are going to get just a server, a blank server, no operating system, nothing. It's your responsibility to purchase the operating systems, install it, then on top of it, install your application. Then if you want to go with database, then install the database application, purchase more storages, more servers, right? That's what IaaS will give you. But in case you do not want to go with this type of things, like you do not want to install operating systems, then the database installation and all, then you go with PaaS. It's a platform. The Microsoft or any cloud vendor will give you the whole platform. All you need is whatever you have the application, you just install it and use it. So in PaaS, you are going to get operating systems along with the tools, the development tools, database management, and analytics, everything. So here it is quite easy for you. What you are going to do is you have the developed application. All you need is come over here. Everything is ready. You subscribe for Windows Server, 10 Windows servers. Come over here, log into it, install. Copy the application, install it, use it. That's it. Rest all the vendor will take care. Microsoft or Amazon, whoever. Now it comes to SaaS, software as services. So here you are going to do anything. You're not going to do anything over here. You are a kind of subscriber. So there is a solution ready. There is a service is already ready. all you are going to do is subscribe it. That's it. For example, Gmail, right? Whenever you want to create a new email account, what are you going to do? You're just sign up. You will do sign up and make use. It will take 2 minutes to sign up, and in the next minute, you are going to send an email, receive email in that email address, right? That's the subscription. In the same manner, Office 365 also provides the same kind of experience. What you are going to do is all you need is subscribe. So there should be some URLs. Go over there, input your details about you, your company details, phone number, email address, and everything. So hardly it will take 3 minutes to subscribe the Office 365. Then you can go ahead and set up your things. For example, which services you need, license, what type of licenses you need, purchase whatever you want, then configure the users and start using it. So that's what SaaS will provide. So in this case, the vendor will already have a ready-made solution for you. It contains your data center, servers, networking, operating systems, development tools, including applications. Everything is ready for you. You are just going to use it, plug and play, kind of. Okay, so that's what we need to understand about SaaS, because Office 365 is a SaaS, software as service solution. Now we'll just talk about very basics of architecture of Office 365. I can call it as Microsoft 365 as well. Okay, so basically in this scenario, the Office 365 is sitting in cloud. When I say cloud, means it's in vendor's data center. It is running with cloud computing technology. Okay, and of course it's sitting in public network. We can't say it's a corporate network. It's a public network. So how the other application will utilize the Azure Active Directory or the cloud-based SaaS, right? So basically, you're the end user. Whenever you want to access any of the applications, such as your email, right? It will be like Exchange. If you are access to Skype for Business online, then it is a Skype for Business application in Office 365. Then if you want to access your SharePoint website, again, it is a SharePoint service running in the Office 365. Then followed with Teams, it is same. So whenever user want to, so here I'm not sure how comfortable you guys are with Active Directory Funda, but let me try to clarify a few things over here. Okay, so what is Active Directory now? Active Directory is a identity services, identity solution, where it provides the user management, authentication management, computer management, and many other things. So basically, Active Directory, the concept is too vast. If we talk about Active Directory, it will take 5 days, like 8 hours per day, to understand the in and out about Active Directory. So Active Directory started with on-premise solution, where each and every organization must be having, unless the organization such as IBM and all, they have their own solution, domino solution. But yeah, this is to manage your objects and computer objects, user objects. Then it provides the authentications as well. So when we say the management, right, user object or objects or the computer objects management. So just I'll give you a basic example. You got a laptop provided by your company, okay, and in few companies, I'm not sure about your company, in few companies they will disable USB access, right? You cannot just go into each user laptop and disable the USB access. No, you cannot. There is some solutions over here. That's called Active Directory, because it's going to do the user and computer management, right? Object management. So using this solution, you can push the policies to disable the USB drive. It is just a very simple example I can give it. You can do many things with that solution. You can disable the camera, you can disable some drives and all, many things. Okay, in the same manner, we have the Active Directory solution in cloud as well. That is called Azure Active Directory. So in this case, that in the Office 365, it is segregated into two forests, means two entities. One entity is called as user forest. So where only user identities will be hosted. That is called Azure Active Directory. That's where Azure Active Directory running. And another one is called resource forest. When we talk about resource forest, it will host, this entity host only the application servers. It can be Exchange, Skype for Business, SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, anything related to application. Those servers are hosted in resource forest. I mean the resource entity. So any users who want to access at the first stage, they will hit to resource forest because they are using the application clients, right? For example, Skype for Business client, Teams client, or Outlook client. You are using a client. Client know what is my application entity. So it will hit to application entity first. So you take example of you are signing into your Microsoft Teams, right? So this is how it works. First, it will come to the resource forest where it will hit to Microsoft Teams servers. Microsoft Teams servers will not accept that request. It will throw a challenge saying that you cannot blindly come and register yourself. You need to come up with the authentication method, and it throws the challenge. Then in that challenge, whenever the client on the application server sends the challenge, right, the challenge also contains the next entity and the user forest entity's address as well, so that the client will utilize that URL and hit to the user forest and get the authentication, right? In that case, so the Azure ID got the request from client saying that, okay, I need a authentication token. Azure ID authenticates. How it will authenticate? It will get your sign-in address and password, get it authenticated. Then it will provide you the authentication token to the client. The client now will send it to the application servers. So application servers, of course, they are talking to each other between the application servers and the Azure Active Directory. So they will do the validation in background, then provide the access granted token, which means now the client can access to the services. It can be anything, right? Microsoft Teams, SFB, Exchange, anything. So that's the basic fund of the how the Office 365 architecture looks and how the end users utilize the services along with the authentication. Okay. Then so if you wanna play around with Microsoft 365 or the Office 365 tenant, right? I was talking about subscribing to the Office 365, right? You can also subscribe it as a trial. So it will give you 30 days trial period. You can play around with many things, many basic things. For example, user management, Teams, Exchange Online, SharePoint, OneDrive. There are many applications which are residing in Office 365. You can just subscribe it for free. You don't need to, whenever you're subscribing for Office 365 trial, you don't need to input your credit card, debit card, anything. Nothing is required. No need to worry. Just subscribe it, use it for 30 days. In case you want to use it for more, then of course you need cards, credit cards or debit cards to purchase the services. But up to 30 days, you can play around. There are multiple types of subscriptions, E3, E5, and there are many. You can go ahead with that, whichever you wish. And these are links, or you can just Google it. You can just type Office 365 trial. The first link, what you get, use it, input your data, and start using it. I can show you. It's better if I show you how to do that, that would be, easy for you guys. Let me do one thing. Let me subscribe one trial tenant from my end. I'll show you how to do that. I always using private browsing whenever I subscribe, because sometimes it will take my organizing credentials as well, which are cached. So you go to google.com, search for electricity E3 trial. Okay, so click this. Okay, so here you will get the option to enter your email address. You don't need to input your enterprise email address, not required. You just use your personal email address. Gmail, Outlook, Hotmail, whatever you have. So next, just click on setup account. It will ask your details. So phone number is very important. Give the the correct phone number what you have, because it will do the authentication with your phone number. So let's say MS Teams. MS Teams 2020. Something is wrong. Okay, so select your organization as well. Just say whatever you wish, because it's going to be a trial tenant. Just say next. Country region, you try to put it as United States, because when you select India, right, there are some limitations when you want to access. So it's always a good idea to use country as United States. So this is where I was talking. You need to input the correct phone number, which is working phone number. It should be mobile number. Okay, you cannot give the landline numbers and all. So yeah, select the country code and send verification code. You will get the verification code in your mobile that you should enter. Okay. Click on verify. So here you want to give with the domain, the vanity domain you want to give. So this domain is going to be the Microsoft provided domain. So it will end with on Microsoft.com. So you give whatever 2020 MS Teams 2020. So that's available. Okay. In case you cannot give the domain which is already used by some other organization. For example, let me check with Cisco. See, it will throw error. You need to give your own domain. Since you are using trial, you give your name, your last name, whatever, your apartment name, whatever. Okay, I'll give MS Teams 2020. Check availability. Oh, someone has stuck in this few minutes. Just say 28. Okay, that's available. Click on next. Here you need to create the first admin account. This is very important. I'll just say my name itself. So your email address or admin account, your account name should be, it will looks like Neeranjan @msteams2828.onmicrosoft.com. That's how the domain looks like. Your initial domain looks like. For example, you might be having the domain called cisco.com, microsoft.com, poly.com, whatever, right? So in this manner, this is going to be Microsoft provided domain. It's going to be like msteams2828 on Microsoft.com. But in case you want to use your own domain later on, you can do it. I'll show you that. Put your password, sign up. So it'll take a while to create your account. Okay, almost done. Okay, good. That's completed. So now you can go ahead and do the setup. If you click on Go Setup, so you're done with setting up. So it will ask you to input your credentials, whatever you created, right? So this is going to be your Microsoft 365 Admin Center or Office 365 Admin Center. So as I said again, do not get confused between the, the terms between the Office 365 and Microsoft 365. Both are same. No, it's a brand name change. Yeah. Since I'm using Internet Explorer, it's quite slow. Let me refresh once. Okay, finally. Okay, this is the initial setup. Any of the Office 365 admin or Microsoft 365 admin have to go through this type of setup. Okay, this is you can ignore if you want to install the Office client, right? Your Microsoft Office client, you can go ahead and install it, or else you just say continue. And this is going to be important thing. So I was talking, right? When you have your own domain, for example, you might be from company Wipro, okay? Then you need to add the Wipro.com ORI, not to use the services with your domain, right? You can just add Wipro, but the thumb rule is whenever you're trying to add, there are some prerequisites, when you're adding Wipro.com, right? So you need to have you should be authentic user of Wipro.com domain. You might have purchased from public domain providers, right? So you need to have some sort of authenticity of that. You need to have some credentials to access the domain service provider. That's very important. Okay, at this point of time, I'll leave it as, I'll use the default domain, that is Microsoft provided domain. So here, in initial steps, you can create a number of users. If you don't want, you just say, do this later. You don't want to do that. You're done. So activate records means it will create the required DNS records, because it is the domain is provided by your Microsoft, right? So Microsoft will do on its own. That doesn't need any authentication. So this is the wizard, admin center wizard, where you can see or you can manage everything, almost everything you can manage from here. It can be Azure Active Directory, it can be your Teams or Exchange. If you click on all admin centers, then you will get to you'll get Exchange and all. Since I subscribed just a few minutes back, it will take a time to reflect over here, but Teams is already here. So Azure Active Directory is also there, where you can manage the objects, authentications and all. So if I click on Azure Active Directory, I'll just show you the portal, how it looks. Okay, here you go. So this is how the Azure Active Directory looks, where you can manage the users, groups, relationships, roles and administrators, admin units. There are many things, enterprise applications. There are many things you can manage from here. You can also monitor the sign-ins, who signed in, audit logs, provisioning logs. There are many things you can do it from this. This is again with respect to the identity. It is not to do anything with your application, like MS Teams and all. If you want to access your application related wizard, then you need to go from here. Teams. It will take a while. Here you go. This is the Microsoft Teams Admin Center wizard. So here you can manage your Microsoft Teams user, Teams channels, meeting policies, configuration. Let's jump in back. Okay, that's the fun about Office 365. We also have many things to discuss, right, about the Azure Active Directory. So what is Azure Active Directory? So this is very important, Azure Active Directory. So again, so AD is going to be, this is your multi-tenant service that's going to provide you the enterprise level identity access management. So remember, I was talking about identity management, right? So this provides you the user objects management, computer objects management, authentications. So all these features will be handled by Azure Active Directory. This is again, this is built to to support global scale. The user from any geographical location are going to access this. So Microsoft also provides, as part of its service level agreement, it says that this is available 99.99% of the time. That's their SLA. So I don't talk much about that. But again, you need to have premium subscription. Okay, it is available basic as well. So this is what it is. You can manage the users, extend your on-premise. You can integrate with your on-premise environment, which we have to dig more into it, how it works and all, right? It also provides the SSO across your cloud applications. So what is SSO? It's a single sign-on feature. So when this SSO is enabled, you don't need to input your credentials multiple times to access any of the services across your platforms. For example, you are using your organization, you having the platform, on-premise platform and the cloud platform both. So for two different platforms, you don't need to input two different credentials. Not required. AAD will take care of that. You just input once in a while for your any of the applications. Next time, it will use your local credentials. Windows integrated credentials, and it just sign in automatically. Okay. And this is how the basic diagram looks of, when you have when the organization have the on-premise and cloud-based solution, both are running in parallel, right? So for example, if you see over here, Contoso Corp is an organization which is having both the platforms, cloud and on-premise. So if you can see over here on the left, on the bottom side, you have the Active Directory in your on-premise for your identity access management for on-premise objects. Then you have the on-premise servers such as SharePoint, Exchange. Then there are many. In the same time, you're also running the same sort of applications on the cloud-based as well. So that's what we call it as hybrid environment. So you can achieve this solution by doing multiple configuration part. Some deployments you need to make sure. There are many things you need to configure in order to trust between your on-premise platform and the cloud platform. Okay. I'll not dig more into this, okay, because this slide contains each and everything. I'm not going to dig more into it. Let me move forward. Okay, MFA. So people might be knowing about MFA. It's a multi-factor authentication. Okay, that's the authentication protocol which is supported by Microsoft Cloud. That is Azure Active Directory. So I think most of the organizations are using this method. Probably few of you are knowing that whenever you want to access any of your org's applications, right? Sometimes or most of the times you get the SMS in your mobile, or you might have installed Azure Authenticator application in your mobile. Like every time you access your applications, it will pop up to approve. Then you might be getting the phone calls to enter the PIN number whenever you want to access your organization application. So that's the feature of MFA. That's MFA is multi-factor authentication. So there are call flows over here which will not talk about over here in the overview session. Let's move forward. Okay, let's talk about. Okay, that's what about the Office 365, basics of Office 365. There are many things to discuss, many things to dig into it. That we will cover only in the the typical training sessions. That is just to give you the basics about the Office 365, which is really required. Now let's talk about Microsoft Teams. So what is Microsoft Teams now? So Microsoft Teams is unified communications and collaboration tool, which is introduced by Microsoft. So using Microsoft Teams, you can do much more and many more. You can do the IM, audio call, video call, content sharing, manage the contact sharing, collaborate with other Office applications such as MS Word, Excel sheet, SharePoint, right? You can integrate with third-party applications. Then the important feature is meetings. You can configure. You can schedule the meetings. It can be normal small-scale meetings which can have up to 250 people, or you can go up to large-scale meeting which is called as live meetings. It can have up to 10K, but in case you need any customization over there, Microsoft will help you to get maybe 20K, 30K. Then it also collaborate with the storage or the shared files like OneDrive. And there are some project applications which it can integrate. Okay. So that's the Microsoft Teams. Let's talk more about this. What are the things it can do? So before that, let me see if I can take you through the journey of the Microsoft Teams. Give me a quick minute. Okay, here we go. So Microsoft Teams journey was not straightforward. Okay, Microsoft, they come up with a lot of things. Initially, they come up with Office, live communication servers in the year of 2003, I believe, 2003 and 2004. That was the first UC solution of Microsoft, where it provides only IM and presence. Then they come up with Office Communication Server in the year of 2007, I believe. Yeah, that's 2007 and 2008. That is called Office Communication Server. Here they bought a feature called conferencing, where you can have IM and video conferencing, have multiple people in the same call. Then they come up with Link. They change the brand. Here it comes. They come up with a solution to integrate with voice infra, such as you might be having Cisco voice infra, or you might be having Avaya voice infra. You can integrate with voice infra as well. Then in Link 2013. So when I say that Link 2010, right? In this period, Microsoft have also come up with cloud solution that was called Link Online. So this is when the Office 365 was introduced in the year of 2010, I believe, 2010. Yeah. So that time it was called as Link Online. In a parallel way, you have in the on-premise you have Link 2010, and in the cloud you have Link Online. And same goes next. Link 2013 in the on-premise, Link 2013 in the online as well. That's called Link 2013 Online. Then SKYPE for Business 2015, they changed the brand in the year of 2015. SKYPE for Business now, because they bought SKYPE consumer company. As you know, that's SKYPE consumer, which we use for personal usage, right? They bought that and they changed the brand from Link to SKYPE for Business. Then SKYPE for Business 2019. Then the Teams. So Teams is going to be future for any Microsoft UC products. So you can move your users from Link 2013. You can move your users from SKYPE for Business 2015 or 2019 to Microsoft Teams directly. So there is another solution called SKYPE for Business Online in Office 365 suite. That's going to be deprecated, or it's going to be retired in next year, somewhere in June 30th, I believe. Yeah, that's going to be retired. So no more SKYPE for Business Online. It's only Teams, Microsoft Teams. That's the future. Okay, that's the journey of Microsoft Teams. Let me go back and see what all the things are available in Microsoft Teams. Okay, so again, Microsoft Teams is a chat-based workspace in Office 365 or Microsoft 365. Okay, if you can see the diagram, the picture on the right side, you have the two solutions. One is going to be your one-to-one chat or multi-party chat, and another one is going to be Teams chat. So it's a collaboration chat. Okay, it's a hub of teamwork. Then Microsoft Teams have the multiple types of security configured inside in the Office 365. So instead of going through this the slides, let me show the Teams chat itself, Teams client itself directly. So if you can see over here, you have multiple options over here on the left side of your Microsoft Teams client. The first one is going to be activity tab. So activity means, so let's assume that someone have pinged you, or someone have added a ping in your team group. So activity will come over here. Next one, this is a chat window. This is only going to be for your one-to-one chat or multi-party chat. let's assume that you want to chat with someone. It's one-to-one. It's a self-understandable. Then this is the important part, what they have introduced. It's a teams. So it's a persistent group you are going to create, right? And this group is going to be like persistent. If you add a message over here, it will be there forever. So all you need to do is you need to create the team. Okay. So how to create a team? Just click create team over here, build from scratch. So there are two types, public and private. Private means where people, if anyone want to join this team, they need a permission. If it is public, then they don't need. Let me create this public. It's created for testing purpose. Good. Okay. So now the team is created. If you want to add, any users or any members to it, you can add. So maybe I'll just say that admin. Just add one user. Okay. If this user, you want to make this user the member or owner, you can decide. So the team is created. Under the team, you will have a channels. This is called channels. You can create multiple channels. So click this three dot, add a channel. Let's say technical discussion. So yeah, again, you have the privacy configuration or privacy settings of your channel, whether it can be standard, accessible to everyone, or private to only specific set of people. So why we need these channels? It is just because you want to segregate your discussions in different channels. For example, there is a team, there is a group. Okay, for example, a top management group. So they have multiple items to discuss, right? So this week they might be discussing about the projects. So let's create the project channel. Next time they are going to talk about technical stuff, then technical discussion. Next time they are going to talk about finance related. So create a finance channel. So you're going to segregate your discussions in using these channels. So it doesn't need to, it should not get any conflicts. It should not get any confusions to the readers. So that's why this is the feature. There are more and more things to talk about these channels and team. Then your meetings. So here you have, conferences you can have. So here I might be not enabled for, okay, there are two types of meetings you can schedule. One is a standard conference where up to 250 people can join your conference. Another one is live meeting. So live meeting is, it is for large scale participants. Probably in your organization, you are going to have some sort of call, management call, where 10,000s or lakh of people want to join. Then in that case, you need to use live meeting. I think it's not coming over here because I signed in with different account. Okay, here it will come over here. So you can use multiple ways to schedule your conference. The first one would be using your Outlook. In Outlook, you're going to schedule a meeting. Then you can create a new meeting from here, add a recipients and all. If not, if you want to go for ad hoc meeting, just click on Meet Now. It will immediately create a new meeting and ask participants to join. Okay, these are three ways to join the, schedule the meetings, Teams meetings. Okay. So there are many other, if we keep on digging into it, the features are vast in Teams. For example, it does have the features. See, let me show you one thing. So in this Teams, you want to add a tabs. Maybe you might be having some blog, okay? You want to have that tab over here. So you go and select the website. So here in website, you can just say that www.google.com. Okay, let's save it. So now you have added a new tab over here. See, you don't need to go to your browser and search for anything. You're working something in your Teams, then you might be having a tab called Google. Come over here, search for something, whatever you want. So you can do everything within the Teams client. Similarly, you can add many other tabs. For example, if you want to add, I think YouTube is also over here. Let me check. Yes, here you go. So you have the YouTube as well. Add it. So you can, if you have any videos, you can paste. You can just paste it. I think not going to take. Need a proper URL. Yes, it will take proper. Search it. Maybe this one. You can add that YouTube video. Make it as a tab. So you can play over here, play from the Teams client itself. So in the same manner, you can do many other things. There are many other things you can integrate. For example, there's one more thing called Jira, right? Jira, I'm not sure whether all are aware, but Jira is development tracking tool in your organizations. So you can just add over here, and you don't need to log into Jira website. Just manage from here itself. So similarly, there are many things you can just play around. Okay, that's the thing about Microsoft Teams features. So there are multiple clients available for Microsoft Teams. You can use your laptops, Windows laptops or desktops. You can use your Mac books, Mac desktops. You can use Android phones, iOS phones, then Windows phones. So these are all the supported client platforms where the Microsoft Teams client can be installed. So there are many other things as well apart from this, right? So we have vendor-based VoIP phones, right? For example, you have Yealink, you have Polycom phones. Even they are also called as Microsoft Teams clients. There are some certified Microsoft Teams phones where you can register to Microsoft Teams and make a call. Okay. Then let's discuss something else. Okay, this is quite important. This is what I was talking. The difference between Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams. So first one is signaling protocol. This is very important. So in Skype for Business, Link, whatever you take in the legacy Microsoft UC products, Link, Skype for Business Online, OCS, whatever, they were using SIP protocol for signaling part. But in Microsoft Teams, it's totally changed. Microsoft Teams is totally a different platform when compared to legacy UC products of Microsoft. It's totally different. The signal protocol itself is different. So imagine like the server methods, mechanism, everything is quite different. So in Microsoft Teams, they have introduced their own proprietary signaling protocol, that is MNP24. So MNP is nothing but Microsoft Network Protocol. 24 is nothing but version 24. So this protocol is totally based on HTTPS. And IAM. So in SKYPE for Business or any other legacy products, we didn't have the persistent IAM. Like you chat with some of your colleague today in the SKYPE for Business client and close it, come back tomorrow, it won't be there. The chat history won't be there in the same client when you open the chat window. But in Teams, that's not the case. Anytime you open your chat window, the history of conversations will be there. And the clients, of course, we have desktop clients in SFB, we have mobile clients, web. Okay, here is the difference. In SKYPE for Business, you used to have a web client, but that is only for your meeting join, nothing from, not for your IAM presence, nothing else. But in Microsoft Teams, you can use the web client as well. We had the SIP phones. So earlier we have the SIP phones from multiple vendors like Polycom, then Yearlink. There are many people. Now still we have from the same vendors, but this time it's going to be a native client. So what these vendors are doing, they are manufacturing the device, put the Android software in it, customized Android software. On top of it, they are installing the Microsoft Teams client, which is provided by Microsoft. So that's why we call it as native client. So you would see that the Microsoft Teams interface, the graphic user interface in the phone. But in earlier SIP phones, SKYPE for Business interface was not there. It was just general. Then video endpoints were there in SKYPE for Business Online. Now, nothing as such, the native video endpoints we have from any of the vendors, but we have something from Microsoft itself that is called MTR, Microsoft Teams Rooms. So we cannot call it as a video endpoint, that's MTR. So probably, there's no plan of having the integrated video endpoints, Microsoft Teams integrated native application in it. But instead of that, they all the vendors come up with something called CVI, Cloud Video Interrupt. So Polycom have that, Paxip have that, Cisco recently come up with that solution, where these vendors host the video infra in the cloud, and their on-premise endpoints will talk to Microsoft Teams meeting using this infra, cloud infra of vendor. Then group team meeting, it was not there in SFB, but it is there in Microsoft Teams. Guest access, it was not there in SFB, but yeah, we have guest access in Teams. File storage was not there. Yes, we have file storage in Microsoft Teams, like OneDrive. Cloud PSTN, it was there in SFB, but in Microsoft Teams also it is there. But the configuration method is quite different. That's it. And on-prem PSTN, it was there. Network requirements. So there is slight changes about the network requirements over here. So again, signaling protocol is different. High range ports are quite different now. Okay, there are some enhancements with respect to network. Earlier, we used to have a large number of destination subnets. Now it decreased to very few, 10 or 12. Earlier, it was somewhere like 200s of subnets we need to allow in our network. Cloud storage. I'm talking about third-party cloud storage. We have OneDrive and Dropbox you can integrate. Recently, I think they come up with Google Drive as well. You can integrate Google Drive as well. Then the connector support, it was not an SFB, but now you have. So what is connector? You can develop any of the your own customized application. When you want to integrate with Microsoft Teams, then you need a connector. So that connector support is there. Then bots integration in both solution, it is there. Large size meeting, it is there. Relay server in SFB, it was called as media relay, but now it is called as transport relay. Then the file storage is again, it is dependent on the SharePoint. Okay. Let's talk about architecture of Teams. So we might be running out of time. We need to cover more things. Okay. So this is going to be, a high level, the architecture of your Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is just a front end, guys. It is dependent on many other applications, solutions in the Office 365. So if you see over here, the Microsoft Teams is sitting in the corner in front. Okay. So for each and every modalities, it is using different types of solution in backend. For example, files. So any file sharing and files and all, file storage, it is going to use OneDrive for Business to store all those files, right? And if anything related to Teams, so when I say Teams, don't get confused. I'm talking about this. Let me show you. I'm talking about these messages, not the chats. I'm not talking about the chats. I'm talking about Teams, any channels, Teams discussion, messages over here and all. This is going to be over. Okay, I'm talking about this. So in this, if we have the files and wiki, then it will store in SharePoint Online. If it is something to do with Workstream Planner, then it will use Planner service. Something to do with channel messages, then it will use group mailboxes within Exchange Online. It will not user mailbox, okay? It will use group mailbox. Then one-on-one chat. If anything to do with one-on-one chat, then it will store the data in user mailbox. Anything to do with calendar or conference, it will store, the video will be stored in Microsoft Stream. Then user mailbox will have a calendar data. Okay, anything to do with calls, call summary and all, it will be there in user mailbox. Okay. So basically, Microsoft Teams, when you have the Microsoft Teams subscriptions, it is dependent on this many applications in backend. OneDrive for file storage, SharePoint Online for your Teams related data, Planner for your planner channel planner data, Exchange Online for your messages to store the messages, Stream for your video recording and video streaming from Microsoft Teams. So Yammer is optional. And Yammer is a legacy solution in Microsoft Office 365. So you can pull and push the data between, but that's optional. Okay, let's talk more about the architecture of Teams. Here is the typical architecture along with the Microsoft Teams components. Okay, so if you see over here, the Teams client is connected to the Teams. It is registered basically to Teams servers. So within Teams server, there is something called chat service component. What this guy does is, this is the component who will handle your messages. Okay, your one-on-one messages, your group chat messages, your Teams channel messages, your wiki, Teams channel messages, all the messages related data, related traffic will be handled by chat service component. It is sitting in Microsoft Teams server, or it is also called a server only. Okay. Then anything to do with wiki and file storage and all, then the client will directly write it to SharePoint Online. SharePoint Online will do the job. So within the SharePoint Online, you have the SharePoint site. So SharePoint site will utilize SharePoint components to store, to process the data, to process the data of your files or wiki. Then anything to do with meetings or audio calls, video calls, content sharing, anything to do with media or meeting join. Then there is a component called NGC Skype calling meeting services. So here what Microsoft did is they are, instead of developing a new component, they are using this Skype component. When I say Skype, means it is not a Skype for business component. It is a Skype consumer component. So remember, Skype consumer means the client which you are using for your personal usage to make a call to your friends and family. So that architecture they are using in backend. That's called NGC Skype. Calling meeting services. So NGC is next generation component. So that's the name of that component. Next generation component, Skype calling or meeting service. This is the component who will handle your audio calls, video calls, conferences, meeting join, everything. Then it will write the required data into user mailboxes about the summary, the meeting summary, call summary and all. Then the files. So if you have the file storage, of course, it will directly write into OneDrive because everything is collaborated. Everything is tightly integrated. You don't need to configure anything. Okay. That's the typical architecture of Microsoft Teams. So there are, see, again, there might be, there are hundreds of components running in Microsoft Teams server, but they are not exposed. So you need to understand this is a cloud-based solution. It's a SaaS. It is totally managed by Microsoft vendor. So we don't need to worry about all the 100 components. We need to worry about what are the major components which are being used. Okay. So there is one note. Okay. Okay. I'll explain you when we are talking about licensing part of it. So let me not dig more on any of these things. Let me see where is licensing part. Okay. Now this is quite important again. So licensing part is quite important, where this is the one which is useful when you're planning for cloud-based adoption, trapping for Office 365. So there are multiple types of licensing models are available. For example, Office 365 Business, Office 365 Enterprise. So difference between Office 365 Business and Enterprise is, in Business, you can have up to 300 seats, 300 users can access. In Enterprise, unlimited. You can have a number of. So I was talking about, right? So Microsoft recently have planning to completely change the brand of Office 365 to Microsoft 365. Hence, they come up with different licensing models as well. That is Microsoft 365 Business and Microsoft 365 E3. So again, it is same. It provides the same sort of thing. Okay, the basic difference between Office 365 licensing model and Microsoft 365 licensing model is, in Office 365 licensing model, you will get the client licenses, okay, Office client licenses and Office online licenses, where you can access your MS Word, MS Outlook, MS Excel and all. And it will give you the Office 365 services such as Skype for Business Online, SharePoint Online, Microsoft Teams, and many other services, Exchange Online and all. But in Microsoft 365, there is something they have added. Along with these three things, what I said in the Office 365, it is also going to add three more things, like enterprise mobility. So you might be aware of Intune. Intune is a MDM or MAM solution from Microsoft. It will manage your mobile phones. It might be iOS or Android or Windows phones. Then it will also give the security licenses. So there are multiple things to talk about security. Okay, it will give that features along with Windows 10 licenses. So you don't need to purchase the Windows 10 licenses separately. If you have this subscriptions, you can use this. Okay, that's the one thing. Then there are many other things, to discuss about within the single model. There are multiple types of licensing available, like business premium, business essential. Each licensing will have a different types of features, different types of modules. I mean, applications available. Okay, so what I wanted to add the point over here is, whenever you want to use Microsoft Teams, right, a full-fledged Microsoft Teams functionality, then you need to have MS Teams license, then SharePoint license, OneDrive license, and Microsoft Stream license. It is not over here, but yeah, if you have all this license available, then only you can call your Microsoft Teams as a full-fledged solution. Okay, that is what it is. Then I'll just show the hybrid thing, how the hybrid looks. So when we talk about hybrid, right, which means two platforms coming together and having the trust relationship. How to trust it? So in Teams is in Microsoft Office 365. Then I have on-premise. So you need to have two main servers. One is AAD Connect, that is Azure Active Directory Connect, which will synchronize your on-premise objects to cloud. Then you need an on-premise edge server, that is SKYPE or edge server, in order to have a hybrid connectivity. So hybrid connectivity is basically used to migrate the users also. So without hybrid connectivity, you cannot move the users from on-premise to cloud. So this is how it looks, and so all your objects will be synchronized between on-premise Active Directory to Azure Active Directory. Then all the it will also sync your passwords as well, so that you don't need to input the password, input a different password for two different solutions. Then all your application related traffic will flow through the edge server from on-premise to Teams. So in a similar manner, for different applications, for SharePoint, for Exchange, it have different models to configure the hybrid. Okay, so let's quickly jump into call flows, because there are many things to discuss. Let me skip few things. Okay, call flow. Let me show you registration. So this is the registration call flow. This is how it looks. The Microsoft Teams always reach out to Teams server to get it registered. Okay, then these are the flows. So remember, I said that it will use MNP24 signaling protocol. It is purely based on HTTPS. So whenever you see the registration call flow, it is full of your HTTPS related traffic. See, if you can see, it is trying to access the Teams server. Then it does the authentication, input the credentials directly to AAD over here. Access token, client will store access token for, then it will register to each and every services in the Teams. So we can dig more into it, what are the services and all. Okay, and content card fetch. For example, I'm searching for some user, right? And I want to see his contact card. For example, his name, email address, phone number, and all. So how it looks? It will send the get method. The Teams client will send a get method to Teams server. The Teams server will validate the request and send the required information to Teams. Then in the Teams, you will be able to see like this. You can see over here. You can see the name, some display name is department, his designation, phone number, email address, and everything, right? So this is how it looks in the HTTPS tracker tool that is called Fiddler. Then how it gets the presence. So it will again send a post request, post method to the team server saying that give me the presence. Then the team server will give the presence back. Okay, this is how it looks. So I saw the presence over here, and if you can see here, away, availability is away. That's how it looks. Okay, so there are multiple call flows we can discuss. Okay, let me talk something about voice related direct routing. Okay, so someone asked in the beginning of this call, how to integrate with voice infra, right? It's not only about Cisco, okay? It is about any voice infra we have. So basically, the standards are like Cisco and Avaya we have in the market. So why we need this? What is this cloud voice, and why we need to integrate and all, right? So for example, let's assume the scenario where your organization decided to move to Microsoft Teams, like full-fledged move, nothing to keep, anything to keep in the on-premise. But your organization do not want to invest money, any sort of money into Microsoft Cloud Voice. So when we talk about Cloud Voice, right? So even Microsoft is also called as carrier service provider. For example, in Cisco, if you want to deploy your voice infra, what you are going to do is you will deploy your voice components like CUCM, call managers. Then there are many components which I'm not aware. Then you will connect that gateways to your PSN service providers. So PSN service provider will use some sort of IP, right? Their public IP, and you are going to make it as a trunk and establish the connection between your gateways and PSTN service provider. It may be AT&T, Orange, Vodafone, anyone, right? In a similar fashion, even Microsoft does have this solution within the cloud. Within the cloud, so they have set up all the components. They have audio codes, SBC component, which is going to talk to some certified carriers, service providers, maybe AT&T, anyone. We don't know which one Microsoft has chosen, and they will provide you the subscription-based licenses. You can have that license. Then within the Teams, you can make a call to mobile phones, landline phones, and everything. You don't need to invest anything on your on-premise. Just utilize the Microsoft phone system, which is available in Office 365. But in case your organization do not want to invest any sort of money to purchase that licenses in the cloud, and the org want to use existing voice infra, it might be Cisco or Avaya. In that case, Microsoft have introduced something called direct routing. In the direct routing thing, what you are going to do is, if you see the diagram over here, okay, anything coming under Contoso, right? This is your on-premise voice infra. It might be having some third-party PBX SBCs along with call centers solution. It might be having ATA, analog telephony adapters, or third-party voice apps, anything in your organization. So let me give this. Okay, this diagram looks good. Okay, so in that case, you need to integrate your MS Teams with your existing voice infra. For that, there are several prerequisites are there, configurations are there, but on the on the high level, what I could say is you need a certified SBCs available, SBC in your on-premise infra. You cannot have any non-certified SBC in your on-premise environment and try to integrate with Office 365 like MS Teams. No, you need to have the certified SBCs, session border controllers. So how it works is, even in Microsoft 365, there are SBCs. Okay. Basically, I think they are having Sonos SBCs, I believe. So what Microsoft Teams will do is within the cloud, they have configured that SBC as a trunk. Okay, not a trunk. This is SBC, which will act a mediator between your on-premise environment and the Microsoft Teams servers. Right, Microsoft Teams server cannot understand your voice related infra or codecs and everything, right? That's why we need a mediator over there. So in that case, what happens? As a prerequisite, you need to have a certified SBC in your environment. So there are multiple certified SBCs. Let me show you which are here. So you can Google it. So these are the certified vendors or versions or the models for direct routing. So we have multiple SBC models from audio codes like Median 500 SBC, 800, 2600, 4K SBC. Then from ribbon communications we have, I think earlier it was called as Sonos. Then we have ThinkTel, Oracle, Acme Packet, then T Systems and Metaswitch. So these are the certified SBC vendors for direct routing solution. So you need to have at least, either one of the SBC listed over here. Okay, then the call flow will be like, your existing users will be sitting over here. Then they will use existing voice infra. Okay, the clients will be like here, MS Teams clients. What they do is they will utilize a phone system license in Office 365, and that license will give the ability to contact the on-premise SBC, which will eventually connect with existing PBX or any PSTN gateways, then to your PSTN provider. So as part of configuration, you need to add the trunks. So SBC as a trunk in Office 365. How do you add that? Let me show you that. One minute, let me check whether I can sign in. Let me sign into my tenant. So I need to go to MS Teams Admin Center to check that. So in MS Teams, I'll go to voice, then direct routing. So here I have SBC. The SBC over here. So I must be having configured SBCs. So I just added one dummy, FQDN as a SBC. So it is showing as offline, red color, right? It is showing as offline. So this is how you add the those SBCs in your on-premise voice infra over here, so that MS Teams will trust that SBC to do any sort of routing, call routings. So you have the dial plans you can configure, voice routes you can configure over here. So again, dial plans, dial rules, voice routing policies, voice routes. It is almost same what we do in our voice infras. Maybe Cisco, CCM or Avaya Session Manager, anywhere. It's almost same, but the interface are different and the method is quite different. Okay, this is how the direct routing works on the high level part, but on the low level, we have to do many things. There are many tasks we need to complete from the on-premise SBC and from here also. Like we need to write the dial plans, we need to create the voice routes and policies as well. Okay, that's about direct routing. But in case you don't want to use your existing infra, all you need is you just purchase the call plans from Microsoft and you can use it from my Microsoft Teams client. Okay. Then there is important thing is about the data, right? Security part, data. So data will be stored in either on the in region or in country. So for example, let's say that if you see this slide, you have a few countries with green color dot, few countries with, few are with blue color dot, right? And few are with yellow color. The difference between them is, if you see India, right? In India, you will see that green color dot. So which means these data centers, these are the data centers, all dots are data centers. These data centers will host only India users, India data. It will not host any user data from any other countries. But when you say about blue color, right, it is a in-region data centers, which means it can host the data from other countries as well. It is in Beijing, I believe, in China. So it can host the data from other countries as well. Similarly, something is there in Singapore. It can host the data from other countries as well. In US also we have in-region data centers. It can host the data from other countries as well. When we say about yellow color, right, it will host only US government data only, nothing else. Okay, that's the difference. This is how the data will be stored across the globe. So it is segregated into three parts: Americas, EMEA, and APAC. There are many data centers. In India, we have a data center in Chennai and Mumbai. I think it's not Chennai, it's Hyderabad, I believe. Yeah. Okay. That's the data residency part, and there are many things to discuss. So migration part, again, you can migrate the users like Skype for business users from on-premise to MS Teams directly, from Skype for business online to MS Teams directly, you can do. So in order to migrate the Skype for business on-premise users to MS Teams, then you need a hybrid connectivity, which I explained earlier. So there are multiple prerequisites are there. We have to complete each and everything, then only we can migrate. Okay, so I'll just stop here. Okay, so if I keep on discussing, there are each and every item will have many things to discuss about the Microsoft Teams. These are the overview of Microsoft Teams, how it is, what are the features, and what is the basics platform of Microsoft Teams, like Microsoft 365 licensing part, Azure Active Directory authentications, then the direct routing, then the some basic call flows. Okay, so when we talk about call flows, it's lengthy part. It will go up to 6 hours to discuss, 6 to 8 hours just about the call flows. Okay, so I'll just stop here. I'll just make this time for questions. Let's have a Q&A sessions.
Neeranjan, Savan here.
Yes,
Actually, it's my request to you. If you can explain somehow on Skype for business migration towards MS Teams.
Yes, definitely. Let me take around 5 minutes for that. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. One minute. I'm just connecting my VPN. Okay, give me a quick minute, so that I can show it from the server standpoint as well, how it looks and all.
Okay.
So basically, migration. When we talk about migrations from Skype for Business to MS Teams, So in this case, there are many things to consider, such as hybrid connectivity, client readiness, data part, and all. So what is the easiest path? That is the hybrid connectivity. You need to establish the hybrid connectivity. So if you want to establish hybrid connectivity, let me go to that hybrid connectivity part. Yeah, here you go. So here, if you see this diagram, okay. So here, this is your SKYPE for Business environment, and this is your cloud. Is it? One moment. What happened to this? Oh, okay, it was stopped somehow. How about now?
Yes, now.
Okay, great. So this is the hybrid environment, how it see. In order to set up hybrid, there are several things which let's not discuss about that. Okay. But let me give some glimpse about this. The right hand side, it is on-premise environment. The left hand side is a cloud-based environment. So when we talk about hybrid, right, it is basically to trust between on-premise environment and cloud environment. So there are some configuration you do to trust. So, and you need to have mediator server to trust between these platforms, right? That's what we call edge server, SKYPE for Business edge server. This guy is sitting in DMZ zone who will talk to internet and intranet at the same time. So who will talk to Teams Infra and SKYPE for Business on-premise at the same time. So whenever you want to move the user, right, you need to connect to the Office 365 from on-premise, then to move the user. How it looks, let me show you. One moment. Okay. Okay. So here, so basically for this, you need to be quite familiar with, SKYPE for Business platform. So it is quite slow. Just bear with me.
Okay.
So I'll search for one user, okay, just to see where this user is hosted. So this is basically a SKYPE for Business control panel. Basically, it's an admin panel where you can administrate your SKYPE for Business users in on-premise.
Okay.
Okay, so there are many users I have. So basically, this is the user. Okay, if I want to move this user to Microsoft Teams, right? All I need is action. Click on action. This is pretty slow. Here you have the option. If you move selected user to Teams or SFB online, you have the options. Either you move it to SFB online or MS Teams. So if you select Teams, then
stuck right now. We are not able to see.
Oh, is it? Okay, let me stop and share again.
Please.
think my client is stuck. Actually.
Okay. So that was enough. Yeah, not a problem. So I got a basic idea about that migration. Okay. Anyways, if you will be going on live environment, then it will be a different approach and process, right?
Sorry, I got disconnected. Can you hear me now? Someone?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my screen again. It got disconnected. Okay. Can you see my?
Yes, yes, we are able to see now.
Okay, great. So this is the Skype for Business control panel. So yeah, I'm using one user to move this user to Microsoft Teams. So if you click on action over here, you have the option move select it user to Teams and move selected user to SAP Online. So if you click on user to Teams, then it will ask you to authenticate. It won't do every time, okay? But freshly I'm moving it. That's why. It will ask me to authenticate with Office 365. I need to sign into Office 365 using my global admin credentials. Just make a note. You need to have a global admin credentials to move the user from your on-premise to MS Teams or SAP Online, whatever it is.
Mhm.
This is my global admin credentials. So it will do the authentication, then it will allow me to move the user. So there are many thumb rules, many prerequisites are there to move the user. I'm just choosing this user and I will try to move. It will get failed because the licensing part is very crucial.
Yes.
In your Microsoft 360 Office 365, you need to have a license for that user. Otherwise, if I move the user to MS Teams, how the Office 365 recognizes I need to enable it for MS Teams, right? So come before you move the user, when you plan for migration, so choose those pilot users or choose those production users to move. Come over here, come to this users, search for that particular user.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Click on this user and assign license. So go to license and apps. So here nothing is assigned. So you need to assign the license. So I will assign the Microsoft Teams license. Then save change. So he need to be having a Microsoft Teams license, else the migration will get failed. Let's go back to here. So for some reason it is not authenticating. If I try again, it will authenticate. So I'll just do it from other way. I'll try again. Move to Microsoft Teams. Next. Okay. So I got error saying what? Get command in remote session, remote starting, remote server failed. Okay. So there is some issue in my, I think DNS issue, I believe. That's why it is throwing some error. Access denied. I need to go over here again, set up the hybrid again. So it is lab again. I cannot expect, everything smooth.
Then that is fine enough. Actually, I was about to get an idea. Okay, that I got it. Yeah. What is the process? Now
Yeah.
it will get smooth. Yeah, that is fine enough. I can understand also. That is a lab. This is a lab. Yeah.
Okay, there is some DNS issues. I cannot, show that now. I need to restart this machine. Then only it will work. It's a lab again. I cannot expect anything great from it. Okay, that the first thing is hybrid. So this is where you need to set up the hybrid. But in order to set up a hybrid,
Yes.
then you need to have multiple components. Like edge server should be deployed, sitting in DMZ. So there are many things should be there. And you, if you want to move the user, either you use this control panel to move the user, or you can use the commands. So you can write the script to move the user. You can just do it manually. There are many ways. So when we are, like discussing deep level about the migration, so we will also write the scripts also, like how to simple scripts, nothing to do with anything about programming skills. So, but these are the prerequisites. Like here, you need to have the license available for this user. Machine should require. Then you move the user. Basically, in large organizations, there are some thumb rules should be followed. When you assign license over here, you cannot just directly move the user. Yeah, wait for 8 hours, then you move the users. Because Microsoft 365 is a solution which is spread across global. So synchronization will take time. So it's always recommended to assign license today. Then tomorrow you plan for migration. Moving the users basically. And you can, there are several other thumb rules, like you cannot just move all the users at the same time, right? So you need to go with step by step, like first technology users, then pilot users, then production users. So there are many ways to do that, plan the migration stuff.
Okay, one more question that I have it. You have not mentioned anything like PowerShell. What will be the use of PowerShell?
Okay, so basically PowerShell, is used to manage the users and configuration using the command line interface. That's called Windows PowerShell. So Windows PowerShell is a Microsoft proprietary CLI tool. Okay, and we will use this tool to manage the users from cloud. So basically, if I want to, get the user of okay, I think it has expired. So basically, what we need to do is we need to connect the PowerShell to remote. So basically, what you need to do is open the PowerShell. Okay, this is the PowerShell. So everyone will be having this tool in your laptops or desktops. So by default, it will be installed. Okay, then you need to run some commands to connect to the online. So for Microsoft Teams is different, for Skype for Business Online is different, for Exchange is different way to connect and all. So there are a few setup commands which will ask you the credential as well. So you should be having at least a global admin.
Okay, so is my understanding right? Whether the bulk configuration we have to do via PowerShell or say or individual configuration can be done via GUI?
Yes, that's up to your convenience. You can also do the individual configuration also from PowerShell, but bulk is always recommended to do from PowerShell because it will save your time. You cannot do one by one. You just write some kind of queries, then it will do the job in very quick time.
Okay, so the configuration can be done via two ways, right? Via GUI as well as via PowerShell.
Right.
Okay.
So for example, I'm querying one user. Okay. So yeah, this is the user. So I just queried is SIP proxy address and SIP address. So it give me this out. So similarly, there are multiple attributes. If you can see here, it's long list. So I just queried only for two attributes. So it is giving this.
Okay.
If I want to get only display name, then it will give display name. See. So using PowerShell, you can actually do 100% of your environment job. Like 100%. But in GUI, I can say only 80 to 85% you can do because there are some configurations are dependent on the PowerShell again.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Any other members are having any queries or questions? Because this is the question and answer times.
Sawan, this was a very detailed explanation. I think don't they guys have their queries already answered. अंजलि का और सर क्या नाम है उसका आंचल का विशाल का और तान्या का एक करके मैं रिफ्रेशर नहीं लूंगा Neeranjan have covered almost every part. I think so.
Yes.
Okay, let's wait for 2 minutes. If anyone have queries, they can.
Yeah, else we can conclude.
Yeah. Okay, I think looks like no one have queries. So maybe if anyone interested in full-fledged training, you can reach out to me, or I think Sawan will help you in connecting.
I have shared that module which you on the group. Yeah. They will going to contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Neeranjan, one last request. Once recording will be done, so please pass it to me so that I will convey the same to the relevant groups of people. Okay.
Neeranjan, I have a question regarding is this a confidential data we're displaying regarding your email IDs for the enterprise that might have a security breach, so that that not be required to be shared with the public, right? Is it that?
Not really. This is my personal domain.
Okay, so okay, that was my question regarding if I will share that because some of the queries for the teams is a very prompting and very very marketized item for that. So that's why I will share the training for the public domain. So thanks for your session. It was really delighted to have that much in-depth knowledge you have covered throughout the session. Thank you.
Thanks, Prashant. Thanks.
Chalaya, Neeranjan, thank you so much for coming. Okay.
No problem, Sawan. No problem. So maybe Sawan, I might share you the link. Okay, if anyone interested, they can fill that form so that we can plan for training. If anyone interested.
Yeah, sure,
okay.
Sure.
Okay, guys. I think I will also share some other links. I mean, Microsoft Teams platform link like Kaizala, then LinkedIn and all. you can join me over there. Any questions, anytime, you can reach out to me in my LinkedIn. So I will share with Sawan. Sawan will share in your groups. Okay.
Yes. And Neeranjan, thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Nandan.
Thanks a lot for joining the session, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Neeranjan.
Thank you.